We're learning new, previously unreported details about special counsel Jack Smith's investigation into former President Donald Trump's handling of nuclear secrets after leaving the White House. New York Times is reporting this morning the prosecutors working for Smith have issued at least one subpoena for surveillance footage from Trump's Bedminster Golf Club. Now, that's where that conversation on tape took place. Two sources familiar with the matter say that came sometime after the government's request for footage from Mar-a-Lago, but it's still not clear what the footage shows or exactly why prosecutors wanted to obtain it. The Times also reporting prosecutors, quote, fought a pitched battle with Mr. Trump's lawyers late last year over how best to search the New Jersey property. Specifically, investigators discussed executing a search warrant at Bedminster last fall because they were concerned more documents were stashed there. That's according to two people briefed on the matter. But one of those people told the Times the Justice Department did not have probable cause to obtain a warrant from a judge. Let's bring in congressional investigations reporter for the Washington Post, Jackie Alamany. She's got some new reporting this morning about how federal prosecutors are perhaps zeroing in now on the former president's New Jersey golf club, adding details about why the FBI has not searched Bedminster. So, Jackie, what more can you tell us about this?
Yeah, Willie, well, we came to found, my colleagues Josh Dawsey and Spencer Hsu and I, that this piece of evidence that we now have all heard this week of Trump brandishing documents at his Bedminster, New Jersey property did come late in the game, really in recent months ahead of the 49-page indictment that Jack Smith and his team unveiled last month, but was a very key and critical piece of evidence that sort of expedited and spurred the charges against former President Donald Trump. As former law enforcement officials and current law enforcement officials told us yesterday, there's no piece of evidence that's more powerful at the end of the day than someone talking about the potential crime that they committed in their own voice and words and on tape. That being said, we too, like the New York Times, reported that ultimately there was not enough evidence or probable cause, or in terms of the sort of public perception of it, political cover to execute a search warrant at Bedminster. And at that point, the Trump lawyers had sort of adjusted their posture and were trying to comply with the court's order to make sure that they attested in some way that they had fully complied with the May 2022 subpoena asking for Trump to be responsive to a request for returning all classified materials in his possession. But, even before the August raid of Mar-a-Lago, the legally executed search warrant had occurred, prosecutors already knew that Trump was taking these boxes back and forth. There was a lot of evidence that they had already collected about his habits, but they had also concluded that the bulk of the materials still were at Mar-a-Lago.
Hey, Jackie, it's Sam Stein here. I guess the question that hangs over the Bedminster portion of this is, what would Jack Smith do with a New Jersey setting, right? There's Judge Aileen Cannon down in Florida is overseeing this case. We all know she's appointed by Trump. She has a history of ruling in favor of Trump's legal team. The question people have is, if he gets an adversarial hearing in front of Cannon, could the special counsel go to New Jersey and try to relitigate these cases? How would that work functionally? Do they have the chance to even do that if they have one court hearing going on in Palm Beach area?
Yes, Sam, this is certainly a question that has been in the bloodstream that a lot of Trump officials, quite frankly, have been hypothesizing about. And there is certainly the possibility that if things were to go south in Florida, that the charges could be brought in New Jersey under this idea that the venue, that a place where the crimes were in part committed was in New Jersey. That being said, as we've seen all along, the special counsel and the team in its entirety has been extremely strategic. There was a lot of decision-making and deliberation about where to bring charges to begin with, even with the possibility that Aileen Cannon would be overseeing the trial. And the calculation that was made was that they would be most successful in Florida, bringing these charges there at the end of the day, despite it being potentially a positive grounds for Donald Trump. But again, this is someone who I don't think would have brought these charges. And this idea even of, Trump coming up with these excuses about that he didn't actually have a classified document. You've got to think that Jack Smith already has potential witnesses lined up to appear in court to say what exactly that they saw at this meeting.
So, Jackie, one of the focuses of the special counsel in the Mar-a-Lago documents case is not just the fact that they were there at the beach club, but there was obstruction when the National Archives and others tried to get them back. The New York Times story this morning talking about Bedminster suggests there was some of that at Bedminster as well, that they had to be, the legal team, the Trump legal team had to have its arm twisted just to go look for documents and then wouldn't sign a document saying, yes, we checked everywhere, got their own people to look, didn't look in certain areas at Bedminster. Does it sound to you like the special counsel also may be looking at obstruction at Bedminster as well?
Yeah, that is something that we do not have the reporting on at the moment. And we get a little bit into the back and forth that was occurring between Trump's legal team and prosecutors at that time. There was one person in particular who was raising questions and concerns about hiring an outside team to conduct a search at Bedminster. That was Boris Epshteyn, a top advisor and in-house counsel to former President Trump. But at the end of the day, that search of Bedminster was ultimately conducted by this outside team, and no additional classified materials were ultimately found. But again, there was some hesitation and reticence and conversations that did occur about searching Bedminster and some hesitation. But obviously, prosecutors did not litigate the matter further and ultimately execute a search warrant. But as for those obstruction charges, that again is not that is not something that we're seeing bear out just yet, at least.
Yeah, many legal experts will say this man has been caught in a lie. And as Katty Kay pointed out, his body language really does reflect that. He looks exhausted, and he's sort of, these little lies are coming out here and there, a smattering of lies here, a smattering of lies there. He is running for his life, they would say, running from jail time.